Hello viewers, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. First of all, wow, the last 24 hours has been a bombshell really with the FBI raid. I can only call it a raid. Glorious sight to see those FBI officers, cutting through Roger Stone's garden, knocking on the door, FBI here. Glorious sight, glorious sight. It's what we've been waiting for months and months. The fact that they did such a public raid was not lost on me, and it was definitely intentional. Of course, they could have gone to Roger Stone and just, called him up, done it through his lawyers, whatever, appeared with an agent or two on his doorstep and put him under arrest. But the fact that it was done like a raid was intentional to show the powers that be that the American law, the American security is intact, and the lawmakers have this one. The FBI, the Pentagon, whoever, America has this one. So it was an intentional show of force. Hooray, good on you, Moolah. Okay, so I've done a separate reading on what might be coming down the pike. Kushner seems to come forward very strongly for me. I won't double up on that reading. I would just urge you to go and have a look at it if you're interested, if that's what you want to consider, reflect on, use your own intuition. But today is Australia Day in Australia, and I promise this reading is something a little bit divergent here. I believe that we're all connected throughout the world. It's why I'm reading here in Australia. It's why I'm getting messages from America now of support for the heat wave that's currently here at the moment. People are sending me, thinking of you. I hope that everything's going to be all right in those high temperatures. It is very hot here. It has been very hot here. So I think we're all connected, and we're a global community. So I want to have a look at Australia today as something divergent to the Trump almost crisis in America. I think that is in good hands. I think I have a very strong intuition and feeling that the lawmakers have this one. The FBI has this one. Mueller's got this one. The courts have got this one, and we'll let it unfold as it will. I'm not saying things will be easy, but things in the end will be okay. But in Australia, we've got this festering sore, and it happens every year on January the 26th, which is our Australia Day, and it is the day that Captain Arthur Phillips from the British fleet sailed into Sydney Harbour and established the first colonial settlement on its shores. It also marks the day that for our Indigenous peoples that this country was invaded and colonised, and it resulted in almost our Aboriginal peoples being wiped out. But they endured. They endured because of the strength of that race. Now, I know this particular, it's no accident that I have a boomerang behind me and some charcoal sketches. I don't have Aboriginal ancestry. I certainly have Scottish ancestry, and the Scottish are Indigenous peoples too, and they were overrun and invaded as well. So there are some similarities there. In my partner's family, they do have, going back in time, they do have Indigenous heritage there as well, Aboriginal heritage. So I've always had a keen history. My children learned to play the didgeridoo, and so I've always had a keen interest in this particular subject, and just of the rights of Indigenous peoples generally. And I think all of us have that. We want to advocate, because these are races of people that have had their land taken away, and in Australia they haven't been compensated. There's no treaty here. There is no compensation. We have had laws enacted that have ripped families apart. It is a festering sore in Australia's psyche, and it only grows worse on January the 26th. So there's been movement in Australia to move the date away from Invasion Day, as it is known amongst the Aboriginal peoples here, and put it toward a day when we can all celebrate, when we can all unite, perhaps when our states became federated. Is that like your July 4th? I'm not sure. There is a day in the calendar, I think it is in March from memory, where we have the Federation of States, where we became a nation. So not just states, where we became a nation. Why couldn't we move it to that day? But we have an element in Australia. We have a right-wing government at the moment who is going to move to legislate Australia Day as being the 26th of January. And we've also got our average Australian, if you like, supporting January the 26th. But when I say average Australian, what is occurring over the years as we go, as this debate becomes more crystallised, is we're getting more and more Australians wondering, why the hell don't we just change the date? So I want to explore that through the cards today. There'll be three critical questions. What are the issues? This is a festering sore. Let's dig into there. I mean, that's an awful analogy, I know, but let's see why it's festering, what can be done. Should the Australia Day date be moved, and will it in time? Will it be moved? Because my feeling is that eventually, maybe not for the next 5 years, but eventually it will be moved, and we're just going through that process at the moment. Almost a linear process as support gathers and grows for changing that damn date. Okay, so I'll bring the laptop down. What are the issues surrounding Australia Day? Straight away, the Five of Swords came out, which is the card, the bullying, the theft, the violence. This is the invasion. So we're going to start with that because that flew out. This is the invasion of Australia Day. And what really is happening at the moment is that we've got these smoke screens. People are refusing. This is the illusion delusion card, the Seven of Cups. They're refusing to see what's in front of them, that this date is a atrocity to Aboriginal people to have to bear every year. Every year there are celebrations, government-funded celebrations right across the nation. It's a public holiday. There's fireworks. There's the harbour. Sydney Harbour comes alive. You know, every year the celebration of the nation is eclipsing the rights of the Indigenous peoples here. And it's something that's got to be penetrated through before there is healing. Changing the date would be a tremendous healing to the nation. However, there is rivalries here and competitions, and this is the tug-of-war, pulling one way and pulling another. There's no consensus here at the moment, and there's not going to be in the near future. However, there is some proposal that should come forward, and if it did, to change the date, it would be tremendously healing to our Aboriginal people. This can be a generic reading. This may be talking about Australia Day on the 26th of January here in Australia, but it could apply to every country across the world where Indigenous peoples have been displaced. A small proposal coming forward would do great healing. Now, we've got things coming forward strongly and quickly. Now, this tells me that I saw a linear process. You know, I picked a number out of my head, 5 years. Perhaps we're not going to have to wait that long, because the Chariot comes forward really with strong and quick action. So in some way, this fog, this refusal to accept what's in front of them, this smoke screen, this denial is going to be penetrated somehow and by someone. And what is it going to be penetrated by? It's going to be penetrated by the strength of the average Australian to support the Indigenous peoples here. We are like America. We have, and I think I'm going to just step up on my soapbox for a minute. Like the American people who have those values, the values to reject Trump. In Australia, we have a very strong sense of fairness and equity because we were founded as an outpost, a colonial convict outpost of England's, and we understand what it's like to be downtrodden. It's in our psyche. We're also a nation of immigrants. So how else did Australia, who are Australians? Who are Australians? They are convicts. They are ancestry I'm talking about. What's our ancestry? What's our shared history? They are convicts, they are Aboriginals, and they are immigrants. That is our nation. And so we are always empathising with our Indigenous peoples. Is there enough of us empathising? I've got two major arcana here. I've got the smoke screen being penetrated in the Chariot, and I've got the strength of our fairness, the strength of the nation coming forward. You know, it could be we're up for a change of government next year. We've got the vibration of the world changing away from this scenario and moving toward a more healing aspect. We're due for this. We're absolutely due for this. And I'm wondering if our next government which will most likely be an ALP government, a Liberal Progressive government, I wonder if they're going to legislate in some way to move the date. Let's see. Okay, we'll ask a fairly self-explanatory question, and that is, should the date be moved, and just see what sort of righteous aspects are coming forward. I do believe there's a place for righteousness, and righteousness should come forward fairly strongly when we see blatant wrongness and blatant abuse and blatant exploiting. There's never wishing anyone harm. Is paramount. Never doing anything that could cause harm. But in terms of the energy that is sent out, there has to be boundaries. There has to be a line in the sand that says it is not okay to go this far. So that's what I have learned in my lifetime. That's how I operate. So let's look at, should the Australia Day date be changed? Should the Australia Day date be changed? Should Australia Day date be changed? Should Australia Day date be changed? Got circles of support. There's certainly enough support for it, or there is gathering support for it. We've got endings and beginnings. So I'm seeing, I asked, should it be changed? I'm actually potentially seeing that in time it will. Also, the world is looking at, the eyes of the world are on us as well. Now, this morning we had a commentary in Melbourne, one of our capital cities, and they went through the Aboriginal peoples that have been killed and murdered in the invasion, and they were getting comments from all over the world in relation to, you know, the Australia Day 26, the date should be moved. So it's becoming more and more, but there are still these rivalries, and this is a practical aspect to this reading. Until these rivalries are solved, we're not going to see much progress. We've got the Seven of Cups coming forward again in relation to the to this smoke screen happening, and we've also got sorrow. And what's going to motivate should it be changed is the sorrow, the heartbreak that every year the Aboriginal people have to feel. And we've got new starts here, and this is, you know, around finances as well. So it could be that what's holding people back is this idea of compensation. If we move the date, then, you know, Aboriginal people will have to be compensated, which is another issue in Australia that people are reluctant to face. So, should it be moved? Yes. Yes, it should. Absolutely. And the eyes of the world are upon Australia. Now let's have a look at, will it be moved? Will the date? Let's give it a good shuffle. Will this denial be kind of overcome? Will there be, support increasing? Will we have a future government? Just move and make it on Federation Day. Let's have a look. Will the Australia Day date be changed in the future? Will Australia Day date be changed in the future? Will Australia Day date be changed in the future? Yeah, I'm getting the image of people having to choose which side of the fence they're on, but I'm also getting the imagery of people going underneath the fence and moving under that fence as well, which is telling me that people are going to switch sides. They're actually going to move toward a date change because there's judgment here. Okay, so we've got there's a divine aspect to this card. It's also signaling the ending of something as well, and it is that divine judgment coming down and influencing the situation. But we've still got the Seven of Wands coming here, and this is really around self-defense, erecting barriers. So there's still that at the moment. But we've got this healing, the healing energy of the Queen of Cups coming forward, and she's coming forward with some sort of proposal in the future. And the Empress, we would be as a nation. I'm just going to pause here for a minute. In Australia, just as in America, when you uphold the rights of Indigenous people, you actually start to create abundance for yourself. Okay, you start to generate that healing energy that clears obstacles away. And so in Australia, if we were just to do something small like change the date, and it is small, then we would open up for nurturing and healing and potentially a more positive future together for all peoples. And then, we've got the Hierophant, the government coming through potentially and changing that date, which is what I felt might happen in the future, some future. And we've also got the monetary aspect here. This is generosity, giving and receiving help. So that could be that there could be some kind of compensation in the future, but it could also be around the healing nature of this. It could also be governments encouraging their local governments. At the moment, we get grants to funding to hold our Australia Day celebrations. There could be money given to kick off a celebration that embraces our Indigenous past. This could be quite a healing time for Australia if it was just to do this one thing. Now, we asked if the date, it will come from authority. It will need to come from our government. It will need to come from a leader. But it will be a healing partnership here in changing that date. Now, we've got the Seven of Pentacles. So, really, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Not everybody will be happy. For some, it's going to mean loss and disappointment. And that could very well mean that the process might be held up until enough people, the Hangman here is suspension, until enough people come forward here. But look, we've got chaos, the Tower card, so it's not going to be an easy path because this is mirroring the barriers that are up at the moment. There is significant opposition here. But in the end, ultimately, we have celebration. Okay, so let's just have a look here. Okay, this is a quick reading that flashed multiple scenarios and situations. Not scenarios, but the situation is complex and there's not a consensus yet. Will Australia Day date be changed? Look at all the major arcana I pulled. Judgment. Okay, so it's almost a foregone conclusion. It has to end. Australia Day has to be changed. If it is, it will create so much more positivity. I've got the Empress coming forward here. I've got who might change it is the government, potentially a new government in the future. They will have to have authority and they will have to have strong strength to do it because we've got the Emperor card here. However, I'm seeing opposition to that date change, potential protesting against it in the Tower card, and because of these protests, it's not going to be an easy run. It's going to be stop and start. So we've got a ways to go yet before that date is changed. There is absolutely the right reasons for that date to be changed. However, more people have to I just saw that barrier being lifted and people moving underneath it. More and more people have to keep making that move before we can have that date changed. But morally, absolutely, yes, we have to have a date changed. I might upload this to YouTube, this reading, and post it on YouTube as well, because I think we need to start that discussion, and I think it has a global perspective as well, because every time we take those small steps, we call it reconciliation here in Australia, where we seek to heal that festering sore. Every time we take those small steps, it actually creates the abundance. Now, you and I both know that the spiritual dimensions that are impacting on questions such as this are probably larger than what we know and suspect, and larger than us. So that judgment card indicates that there is a divine judgment to be had here, and so eventually it will end. So in Australia, we need to, really move toward that inclusion of everyone, so that everybody can celebrate, and that there aren't our Indigenous people, our Aboriginal people, feeling that sorrow and that heartbreak on January the 26th. And that is the situation at the moment. However, it looks as though it will change in time. We will move to a new date. And I would say hallelujah. Thank you, viewers.